Where can you find 2,800 lakes and ponds?
The highest point in New York State.
And around 4,000 black bears.
Find out next on Sarah's Wiki Corner podcast.
My Little Pony.
Traffic lights.
Sarah's Wiki Corner.
It is time for Sarah's Wiki Corner. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello, what are we learning about today in your Wiki Corner?
Well, the Adirondack Park turned 133 years old this week.
You're kidding.
I am not kidding you. Have you been to the Adirondacks?
I've been to the Adirondacks, yeah.
Yeah. What part? I asked you this the other day, and you also couldn't remember.
Part where there's some lakes and some mountains. I went to the North Pole's up there,
I think that's
right?
near Lake Placid.
And that's where I've been. Then it's Lake Placid.
So the park was established in 1892 for the free use of all the people for their health and pleasure.
It's what a wonderful, noble thing.
Yes, and for watershed protection. At 6.1 million acres, it is the largest park in the contiguous United States.
Jeez.
It's also the largest national historic landmark in the United States, covering an area larger than Yellowstone, Yosemite, the Grand Canyon, Glacier, and the Great Smokies National Parks combined.
Take that.
All of those combined.
Can I just say, when people think of New York, they think of New York City. We all know this. Everybody who's lived in Rochester or any place in upstate New York for any length of time knows this. And they don't realize that we have such beautiful areas.
Yeah.
I mean, the Finger Lakes, it's a nice area here.
Definitely,
But the Adirondacks, they just don't even picture that that's a part of New York.
I know.
And
I know.
it is.
Beautiful. Before the 19th century, the wilderness was viewed as desolate and forbidding. As Romanticism developed in the United States, the view of the wilderness became more positive, as seen in the writings of James Fenimore Cooper, John Muir, Henry David Thoreau, and Ralph Waldo Emerson. Of course, you know their works, right?
I sure do.
But a single book is credited with turning the mountains into a prime tourism destination, and that was in 1869. A Congregationalist minister named William Henry Harrison Murray. He published a book called Adventures in the Wilderness, Camp Life in the Adirondacks.
Oh, okay.
On top of praising its natural beauty and promoting the woods as health-giving and spirit-enhancing, the book also included maps of the region and train schedules from various eastern cities to the Adirondacks.
He's putting train schedules in his book?
Yeah, he did.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Well,
It's a bit outdated now, I would think, if you went to get it out of the library.
So that summer, thousands of tourists, which were dubbed Murray's Fools by the press, poured into the wilderness each weekend, packing specially scheduled railroad trains. By 1875, there were more than 200 hotels in the Adirondacks to accommodate these seasonal visitors. Locals began advertising themselves as guides, and huge private lodges were built by wealthy East Coast businessmen.
And they called them fools.
They did, yeah. Rising concern over water quality and deforestation led to the creation of the Adirondack Park. Notable among parks in the U.S., about 52% of the land is privately owned.
Really?
And devoted to forestry, agriculture, and open space recreation. The remaining 48% is publicly owned by the state as part of the Forest Preserve.
I see.
The Adirondack Park contains 46 high peaks, 2,800 lakes and ponds, 30,000 miles of rivers and streams, and an estimated 200,000 acres of old-growth forests. Those who have climbed all 46 peaks are eligible to join the Adirondack 46ers Club, which has over 16,000 registered members as of 2024.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And the mountains are also growing taller.
Excuse me?
Yeah. It is theorized that there is a hot spot beneath the region which causes continued uplift at the rate of 1.5 to 3 centimeters annually.
So the guys,
just a teeny little bit every year.
The people who've already climbed them had to do less work than the people who are going to climb them this year.
Right.
They have to go higher this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. The highest and the highest point in New York State is Mount Marcy with an elevation of 5,344 feet above sea level.
That's high.
Yeah. The park is home to 105 towns and villages with 130,000 permanent and 200,000 seasonal residents. The park sees over 12.4 million annual visitors. That's more than the Grand Canyon gets every year.
Really?
Yeah, they only see around 5 million visitors.
And we see how many again?
12.4 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
More than double.
Yeah.
Wow.
The region is home also to and if you've been to the Adirondacks, you probably know this if you've camped up there, the region is home to the highest concentration of black bears in New York State.
Yeah, you can put your stuff in a bag.
There's around 4,000 of them
Ooh.
there, and that's estimated to be 50 to 60% of the black bear population in the state.
Jeez.
Yes. And they're second only in mammal size to moose.
Yeah, so they're big, is what you're saying.
They're pretty big, yeah. Now, the Adirondack chair, we're all familiar with the Adirondack chair.
Love that.
Was in fact invented in the Adirondacks.
Hey,
yeah.
good.
The chair was invented between 1900 and 1903 in Westport, New York, which is in the Adirondack Park. And the chairs were popularized in nearby tuberculosis sanatoriums, where they were favored for the way the armrests helped open up the sitter's chest.
That's one. So next time you sit in an Adirondack chair, you have tuberculosis to thank.
That's right, exactly. Who knew?
Who knew? You picked out a record to go along the Adirondacks, did you, Sarah?
Yeah, so we're going to play The Mountains High by Dick and Dee Dee.
We'll do it, Sarah. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Did not expect TB to get a shout out in today's Wiki Corner, but here we are.
I guess there were...
The world is full of surprises.
There were, the tuberculosis sanatoriums that they built there, I guess. I don't know.
Why not?
Mountain air, nice,
Good
clean,
a place as any.
fresh air, I guess. I don't know.
There were some gorgeous pictures when I was going through.
I know.
Were you able to watch them scroll by there on your monitor?
Not really, but...
Well, they're you missed. You should look back later.
I'll watch. I can rewatch.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I can't get over how big it is.
I know.
I mean, I knew it was a big area, but I didn't relate it to Yosemite, as I call it, Yosemite and Grand Canyon, all those. I didn't realize you could fit all of them actually in the Adirondack area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If anyone watching has been to the Adirondacks, let us know what your favorite part of the Adirondacks is, or your favorite place to go there.
Absolutely. Do you think the locals that live there, how do you think they feel about the people who come up in the
I don't know. I know that I feel like during COVID, it really got very, very crowded there because there were a lot of people from New York City and stuff. I think that came up to
they ruin everything. Yeah.
Right? No, but I think so. I don't know. I mean, it's great for business, right?
Yeah,
if there's a lot of tourism.
When we used to go down to the Outer Banks, I always used to feel bad for the people who lived there because the best weather gets there in season, and suddenly all these yahoos from all over the world come in and just.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that go there in the winter also to ski and.
Yeah, it's true, and to just be cold.
And to be cold.
Be out in the cold.
Yeah, I've been to Lake Placid in the wintertime and in the summertime. I prefer it in the summer. I will say that. I do prefer it in the summer. But you know what we did, which was really cool? In the wintertime, at least when we were there, you could take a ride on a dog sled on on Mirror Lake.
You did that?
Yeah.
All right, stand by. Here we go. Legends 1027, the biggest hits in the history of the world. Dick and Dee Dee there, of course, you knew that. The Mountains High, the name of the song. Sarah, do remind us why did we just play that record?
Well, because we were talking about the Adirondack Park, which turned 133 years old this week.
It's looking great, too. Let's recap 3 things we must take away from today's Wiki Corner. Are you ready?
Ready.
Go.
All right, the Adirondack Park is the largest park in the contiguous United States.
The mountains in the park are growing taller.
And 50 to 60% of the state's black bears live in the Adirondacks. So watch out.
Watch out. How did they realize the mountains were growing taller, Sarah?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
How did they know that?
This mountain seems a little taller than last year.
And
I don't know.
What's the rate of growth?
It's 1.5 to 3 centimeters
per
year.
Per year. So somebody.
I mean, it's just a little bit, but
somebody's OCD.
Geologists.
Yeah.
Is that who studies these things? I don't know.
But to know that that's unusual, they must have measured every mountain and been like, well, this one's not growing. This one's exactly. Maybe some shrink? Some grow, some shrink, some get fatter.
As they age, I'm not sure.
Some get thinner. Know. That's Mount Mark that does that. Folks want to learn more about the Adirondacks. Where do they go? What do they do, Sarah?
You can go to my wiki blog. If you go to legends1027.com on the homepage, there's a link that takes you to my blog where I post everything I talk about every day. Plus, you can watch this unfold every day at 4:10 on Facebook Live, and you can catch the archives up at YouTube. Go to YouTube, search out Sarah's Wiki Corner. Be sure to like and subscribe so you know when we post new stuff. And that's it for the week. That's it. Cannes Film Festival, Blue Jeans, George Wendt, David Kunst, and the Adirondack Park wraps up the week. Yeah. And if you missed the one yesterday on David Kunst, you probably don't know who that is. You have no idea who that is. You have to go and read that Wiki Corner. Pretty wild story. Super interesting. Mm-hmm. Love it. Have a good weekend. You too. Enjoy your long weekend. Yeah, yes. Memorial Day Monday. Mm-hmm. And we're back on Tuesday, fresh episode. Definitely. Traffic, weather, and the weekend kickoff coming up on Legends 1027.